Mark? Yep, there we go. I'll call the meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. and ask for any amendments to the agenda.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I have none.
Thank you. Motion to confirm the agenda for the regular council meeting of February 16th to be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Bass, seconded by Councillor Cassidy. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And declarations of pecuniary interest.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, I have none.
Thank you. We have some minutes to adopt. That the minutes of the regular council meeting held January 19, 2022, and the special council meetings held on February the 3rd, 2022, January 25th, 2022, and January 12th, 2022 be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Fenelon. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. And we'll move to the determination of items requiring separate discussion. Item 7.1, budget 2022 budget adoption and tax rate approval. Councillor Lego. Item 7.2, 2021 Columbarium revenue transfer. Item 7.3, award engineering contract, Hillcrest Drive upgrades and Hillcrest development area infrastructure construction. Councillor Timpson. 7.4, appointment to SLRPC Physician Recruitment and Retention Committee, and I think we do have to lift this to fill in a name, so 7.4 is lifted. 7.5, award contract for information technology services. Councillor Timpson. 7.6, application for liquor license, Anderson's Lodge Municipal Information Form. See no one. Item 7.7, establishment of Cedar Bay Development Ad Hoc Committee. And I believe this is another one that we are lifting to fill in names. So 7.8, Hudson Pavilion Design Brief. Councillor Fenelon. And 7.9, reappointment of Integrity Commissioner. Seeing no one, all right. So a motion to adopt the items not requiring separate discussion, which would be item 7.2, item 7.6, and item 7.9. Did I get that correct? Yeah. So a mover for adoption of 7.2, 7.6, and 7.9. Moved by Councillor Bath, seconded by Councillor Cassidy. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And we'll go to items requiring separate discussion. Item 7.1. The council authorizes the passing of bylaw number 1122, being a bylaw to adopt the estimates of all sums required for all municipal purposes during the year 2022, and to authorize the levy and the collection of taxes for all municipal purposes in the municipality of Sioux for the 2022 fiscal year. And further, the council authorizes the passing of bylaw number 12-22, being a bylaw to set tax ratios for prescribed property classes for municipal purposes for the year 2022. And further, the council authorizes the transfer of $180,629 from the infrastructure reserve to pay for additional daycare costs. And further, the council authorizes to replenish the infrastructure reserve in the amount of $45,157.25 per year over 4 years through taxation. Moved by Councillor Fenelon, seconded by Councillor Lego, and start the discussion with Councillor Lego.
Yeah, my only comment is in regards to the infrastructure reserve, the 180,000 to be paid over 4 years. The infrastructure reserve, is that the reserve that we put the $100,000 in every year from the hydro dividend?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, that is correct.
Okay, I was just wondering if we could just this year with that dividend put in the $180,000 and then just be done with this instead of doing it over 4 years from that dividend.
So through you, Mayor Lawrence, you'd want to take the 100,000, apply it to the daycare, and then anything remaining would be paid off next year?
No, I don't mind taking the 180,000 out of the infrastructure reserve, but
Okay.
instead of paying it back over 4 years at 45,000, just to take the dividend that we get, which is usually about 215,000, and then pay off the whole $180,000 with this year's dividend.
Well, the difference between what we actually receive in dividends and the $100,000 is roughly $150,000, and we use that right now in this year's operating budget.
Okay, I was not. I was kind of aware, but I wanted to get some clarification. So if we have to do it this way, then we have to do it this way. So I just wanted to ask about it.
The other thing that we could look at possibly too is if we currently have a surplus at the end of the year for 2021, we can, I can put in the report that maybe a certain amount of money within that surplus be allocated to help offset any of these costs so that we don't have to look at taxation in the future.
And that comes in March or April?
We currently have scheduled for our audit to be at the end of April. I do have a report coming to council in March to show roughly where we're sitting at right now that's unaudited for 2021 to give council an idea of currently where we're sitting at in regards to our surplus.
Okay, I await the report.
Okay.
Thanks, Carter.
Thanks, Councilor Lego. That was the comments then on the budget? Anybody else? In that case, I'll call the vote as it stands. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Item 7.3. That council awards the contract for engineering services for detailed design specifications, tendering, and contract administration for the Hillcrest Drive upgrades and Hillcrest Development Area Infrastructure Construction Project to Q8 and Ascii Limited for $303,525 plus HST. And further, the council authorizes the passing of bylaw number 13-22, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the clerk to execute a contract between the corporation of the municipality of Sioux, Q8 and Ascii Limited for the detailed design, specifications, tendering, and contract administration for the Hillcrest Drive upgrades and Hillcrest Development Area Infrastructure Construction Project in the amount of $303,525 plus HST. Moved by Councillor Fenlon, seconded by Councillor Cassidy. And discussion, start with Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, the Environment Committee has, I think, was able to put forth a policy a few years ago that all new infrastructure would be take into account adaptation to climate change in terms of pipe size of underground pipes, etc. I wonder what the plan will be for this and how we can communicate this need to the engineers.
CAO, I'll let you direct that question if you like.
I'm not aware of this, of the Environment Committee's, what Councillor Timpson is speaking to, so I will defer to Jody Brinson.
Through Mayor Lawrence, yeah, this was a policy proposed by the Environment Committee a few years ago regarding consideration of climate change adaptation in municipal projects. So through this contract is for the design and contract admin. So I, through the process, working with the engineers and consultants, that's something we can bring awareness to them to bring consideration of that sort of thing. in regards to this project.
All right, thanks, Jody. And I'm not going to put you on the spot. Our new public works manager, and I apologize. Between various things, I got to my desk later than I wanted to, and I wanted to introduce the new public works manager to council. Jeff Hawley, you'll see on the screen, is the new manager of public works and infrastructure. Came to us 3 weeks ago. And he has previous municipal experience in infrastructure, water, wastewater management, and waste management. And this particular item on the agenda tinged my memory, and I'm not expecting you to answer, but please say hello, Jeff.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence. Hello, everyone. And yes, we will definitely look at the pipe sizing on that. Certainly from a land drainage system perspective, that's something that's always front of mind when we're looking at designs, that we are seeing increased rainfall events. So I'm sure it'll be a discussion we'll have with the engineers.
Thanks, Jeff. Anybody else questions on this item? Councillor Timpson, you're good with the response here?
Yes, I just wanted to be certain that it is on the agenda.
Thank you. All right, well, thanks, Public Works Manager Jeff, and sorry to put you on the spot right off the bat there, but welcome to the municipality, and look forward to working with you. All right, all in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. Item 7.4. And this is an appointment. Kirk, can I, how do you want to do this?
Pardon me, through you, Mayor Lawrence. If we could perhaps read the resolution, put it on the floor, get a mover and seconder, and then perhaps council can discuss their preferred appointee.
Okay. The council approves amending Schedule A to bylaw number 92-18, excuse me, being a bylaw to make appointments to various boards, commissions, and committees by adding the Sioux Lookout Regional Physician Services Incorporated, SLRPC Physician Recruitment and Retention Committee, and further, the council approves amending Schedule A to bylaw number 92-18, being a bylaw to make appointments to various boards, commissions, and committees by appointing someone from council to the SLRPC Physician Recruitment and Retention Committee. Moved by Councillor Fanlon, seconded by Councillor Timpson, and we'll start the discussion. And I just want to confirm, it's a councillor that we're appointed, it's from council, not administration. Okay. Council, we're looking for volunteers. Shall I go around the table, or is there anybody who is keen? I see, is there any issue with Councillor Timpson is on Maniyawan board? I don't think that would be any problem though, and Councillor Howie works for one of the agencies, but I don't see any issues there. So feel free to volunteer. I'm encouraging anybody.
Well, I mean, I would do it if there is nobody else. Let me put it that way. But I think there are other people who would be better than me at this. I guess the other thing too is whether some of these meetings could be virtual or by logging in. That'd be the other thing, because one might be away at that particular time. So.
Clerk, do you have any, I know there was a bit of information on there, anything you can enlighten council with as to the time commitment, location of meetings, virtual meetings or not?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence. So yeah, I think virtual meetings would be something that they would be looking at least at the outset. And with respect to time commitments, I know they would be looking for the member to serve on the primary committee, which meets every 2 months, and potentially to chair one of the subcommittees, which meets, I believe, monthly.
Okay, thank you. And the possibility of virtual meetings, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Howie.
I'll volunteer. That was actually my question, was what the time commitment was. So
There
thank
you go. Is there anybody else that's going to slap Councillor Howie's hand down and jump in? And I don't think so. So thank you very much, Councillor Howie. I think it's an important committee. I would put my own hand up, but in a way, but I feel I have enough commitments, and I'm very. I think we're all very appreciative that you're willing to do this, and I think you'll be a good representative to help recruit physicians. Thanks, Councillor Howie. So the next thing is just call the vote, clerk. All in favor of filling in the blank with by appointing Councillor Howie to the CERPC physician recruitment. Thank you very much. Thanks, Councillor Timpson, for being the Plan B. Award contract for information technology services, item 7.5. The council authorizes the passing of bylaw number 14-22, being a bylaw to authorize and direct the mayor and the clerk to execute an agreement between the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux and Bursell Integrated Technologies Limited for the provision of information technology services. Moved by Councillor Fanlon, seconded by Councillor Bath. Discussion starting with Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, I just had a question about travel. We only see a monthly payment there, but what if they need to come? And I understand they're located considerable number of miles from here. Who pays for their travel? Have we sorted that out in the event they have to come?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence. So yeah, so the initial kickoff meeting will be on site here in Sioux, and that's at no cost to the municipality. In speaking with representatives of Bursell today, they estimate that 95% plus of the work that they will be required to do under the contract can be done remotely. We do have a boots on the ground right now, which is sort of our IT and communications person. So probably of that remaining 5% of the time when they may need to do something on site, about 2.5% of that time, our IT and communication specialists should be able to do that work. So we'd be looking at the other maybe 2.5% of the time where on-site visits may be required. So there's a couple of options there. One, Bursell can, in the contract, they have the ability to hire a subcontractor, which could come from Sioux, Dryden, somewhere much closer. Or ultimately, if that's not available, then yes, we would be required to pay for the actual cost of their travel at cost. But because we're already paying them for support services, there would be no additional fees. So if someone had to fly here from Timmins or Toronto, then those travel costs would be in addition to the monthly fee.
Councillor Timpson, anything further?
Yeah, I just wondered if you know approximately how much that would be, say if they were coming from Toronto. And yeah, I paid for it, whether we budgeted for it.
So there is money in the IT budget this year. We knew it was going to be a transitional year. We knew that there would be likely some unexpected costs with respect to some of the initiatives that we need to undertake. So those funds would be available in the IT budget for this year. I don't have an exact figure in front of me, Councillor Timpson, on that, what those travel costs would be. Oh, I see the CAO wants to say something. I'll stop talking.
Thanks, Clerk. The CAO.
Just on a personal note, through your worship, I traveled to Toronto to visit family, and I traveled to Timmins to visit family, and the average flight return is about $500.
All right. Anything further on this item, Council? Councillor Simpson, you're good to go here?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item 7.7, establishment of Cedar Bay Development Ad Hoc Committee. And I guess we'll do this the same as we did the other committee. Thanks, Clerk. The council hereby establishes the Cedar Bay Development Ad Hoc Committee with a specific mandate to review the Cedar Bay Development Plan 2012, consult with community partners and user groups on matters arising from the Cedar Bay Development Plan 2012, and seek input from these groups on the implementation of the plan, update the plan as required, and represent the plan to council for review and adoption by the August 2022 regular council meeting. And further, the council appoints councilors blank and blank to the Cedar Bay Development Ad Hoc Committee. And further, the council appoints Michelle LaRose, CAO, Ronnie Chakraborty, Manager of Recreation and Culture, and Jody Brinkman, Manager of Development Services, as staff resources to the Cedar Bay Development Ad Hoc Committee. Need a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Cassidy, seconded by Councillor Fenelon. And discussion, we'll start with, who? Raise your hand. You're volunteered. Thank you. Councillor Cassidy, are you volunteering?
Yep, I put this forward. I would like to sit on the ad hoc committee.
Thank you. And we are to have two representatives, I think. Three, excuse me. Okay, I see the comma now. Yes, I do remember. Three, so we need two more councillors. Councillor Timpson?
I think Councillor Howie would be excellent on this one.
Did you raise your hand yourself, or you were volunteering for?
I'm volunteering, no. No, I feel, I mean, I'm really glad that Joe is, well, I would think we need young people who have children, will have children, who are going to be using the facility and have the feel for it. I would be plan C for this one, but would like to see other people getting involved with Cedar Bay. But if nobody else is at the number 3, I would do it. But because I am on the board and have been on the board for a long time, a little bit of not a conflict, but anyway, that's my take on it.
So this time you might be plan C. I'm not sure if that's plan B, but Councillor Howie, did I see your hand up?
Yes, I was going to say I'll volunteer. I'm also currently with council, committees of council. They're not meeting, so.
Okay, great.
I'm with
Thank
council. So.
Thank you. So we have Councillor Cassidy, Councillor Howie, and now Councillor Timpson slips to plan D until such time as somebody else volunteers. Any other council interested? Councillor Lego.
I would be interested in.
Excellent.
If Councillor Timpson has other things, so.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, and I think Councillor Timpson is quite involved in Cedar Bay regardless, so through her other roles. So no, that's good. Wonderful.
I quite remember how it was back in the 70s when I went to it as a child, so I have some fond memories of it.
And I think that is extremely important, that people who really understand the value of this jewel. I think that's really important.
Great. So we're going to fill in the blanks with Councillor Cassidy, Councillor Howie, and Councillor Lego. All in favor? Thank you. Thanks, councillors. That's wonderful. I too am a big fan of Cedar Bay, use it a lot, and look forward to what comes out of this. Item 7.8. The Hudson Pavilion Design Brief. The council receives the Hudson Pavilion Design Brief dated January 2022 as attached to Manager of Corporate Services Municipal Clerk's report dated February 16th, 2022, report 2022-8, and further the council directs staff to investigate the funding opportunities to facilitate the implementation of this project in 2023. Moved by Councillor Fenelon, seconded by Councillor Cassidy. Is that a hand up? Yep. You made the mistake of a beard scratch. Thank you. And discussion starting with Councillor Fenelon.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it. I think it should go out to the public in Hudson. because to me, it looks a little, I don't know how to say it, but there's there's a lot of things in there that are taking up room for instead of having where people can sit and do things, the trees and stuff like that. And that was one comment that was somebody I was talking to about it. So I don't know. It should go out to the Hudson public if we can. I don't know. I think we should be able to do it.
CAO, do you want to comment?
Your worship, through your worship, I'll defer to our clerk because he was the lead on this from a staff perspective. Thank you.
Through Mayor Lawrence, thank you. Yeah, so there was a survey circulated when the initial design came out in the summer. That was circulated to all the residents in the community, including the residents of Hudson, and to facilitate, I guess, given the COVID restrictions at the time, we weren't able to have an in-person meeting, but we did a Zoom presentation to sort of go through the design brief so that people could sort of understand each of the slides. And also at that time, we had all of the slides from the design brief sort of blown up in size on Coroplast and mounted on the side of the Lost Lake Drop-In Center so that the public could also go and look at that firsthand. So all of the feedback that we did receive from the survey, we also received some feedback outside of the survey just through letters and emails and so on, from some residents of Hudson and residents from other parts of the community as well. And so those that input was reflected in the final design brief that's before council.
All right. I don't see any other hands up. I'll ask council, but I would say that, you know, approving at this stage it's still a conceptual design, and as it moves forward into, if we get funding and it moves to detailed design, then prior to starting the detail, there's opportunity for public input at that stage again. Yeah. Okay. I see Councillor Cassidy.
Yeah, I understand that. I just my kind of question is where we've seen this before, where we have these conceptual designs or some of these designs kind of shelf ready, the funding comes out shotgun, and it's the first thing we grab off the shelf and we push it out the door. I do have concerns, and I agree with Councillor Fenlon that I wonder if this is the best, what we really should be focusing on in Hudson. I understand it falls along the lines of the Hudson revitalization study. I know it was a topic on the Hudson Advisory Committee as well. But when I look at the price tag, I see some of the comments in there about this as well. Mind you, it's a very small sample size. I just wonder if we can maybe, we put this on the shelf, but maybe we need to look at what's a better investment in Hudson that might spur more economic opportunity, maybe bring more people out there, more housing. I think we've seen a bit of influx in housing lately. How can we maybe grow that? How can we maybe attract some businesses out there? Is there other things maybe to the downtown, the infrastructure? We have a community center out there that's in a state of disrepair as well. So I just wonder what our priority for Hudson really needs to be from the municipality standpoint if we're going to invest some serious dollars into it. I'm okay with this on the shelf, but I'd like to see some more reach out and some more data collected on what we should actually be investing in first and kind of get a bit of a prioritization list going. So that's my thoughts on this.
Yeah, and I don't think we're stepping beyond. We are, as you say, receiving it, not approving it to go ahead to anything further than receiving it and investigate if there's funding for it. That's what this motion is. But Council, do I see other comments, other hands up? Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, I had one question about the location of it, whether that's the best place next to the water treatment plant. I do think it's worthwhile to invest this kind of thing into Hudson as a way of attracting people to live there. And, you know, we do have a fair bit of land there, and that should be developed. But in order to attract people to live in Hudson, there needs to be something there that is beautiful that will attract them. So I guess my question to Councillor Fenlon is why this particular site versus somewhere else, if that's the best place for it?
It's it started out as being when we first started looking at it. It is a good place. There's lots is happening on the waterfront, and historically there was buildings along there going down east to the west and the east at some point in time in history. And that's what some of the Hudson people want to see, is something there that's the outlook over Lost Lake. And there's people that right now today in summertime that spend time on that little grass patch there that is there, and they come from Sioux Lookout, bike riders and stuff like that, and they stop there. So it is a place that people sort of head to, eh? And but I think for the footprint we got too many fixtures in there that could be removed and make more room for people.
Any further comments, Council? Councillor Cassidy.
Yeah, I agree with that comment. There might be a bit too much on site there. I did reach out to a business owner from the adjacent houseboats, and there's the potential need for additional parking there or some staging areas for some of those businesses as well. And that location is also adjacent. So that could be another alternate use for the site that could be included and not necessarily take away from the entire use there. And maybe we don't need so much on the site, and there's other things we can look at. I would like to also maybe a friendly amendment to the recommendation that that staff survey the residents of Hudson, maybe a mail out of some kind, and indicating their priorities that they'd like to see in Hudson investigated as well for future. If there's funding opportunities available, it would be nice to have some kind of information on where they think or where they see the investment should go and what they think would benefit Hudson and the community. They're the ones that live there, they know the best. I'd like to see something like that we can have in our pocket before we find a funding agreement and we make the decision of what we're going to proceed with. So I'd propose that friendly amendment to this motion.
And if that's proposed, then I need to follow up with the mover. Councillor Fenlon is the mover, I think.
Yeah, I think
yes, Councillor Fenlon is the mover. I would suggest, though, that this is actually a completely separate initiative, and I think that it would require a motion on its own, that staff be directed to seek Hudson residents' input on their priorities for future development in the community. I think that's a very different initiative and a completely separate motion.
And are you suggesting it be a motion this evening or at another meeting?
You know, if council wants to proceed with that direction, I can certainly draft that motion that we could deal with as a potential 7.8B on the agenda, if that's council's wish.
My only worry is without people often want to react to something rather than if it's just an open sheet of paper. It can be difficult for people many people won't respond, and then some with big ideas won't respond. So you're not really getting. It's going to be a limited result. Is it better to have something for people to react to respond to before we do a survey? Councillor Cassidy.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just spitballing here a bit. Maybe there is something that maybe we have some staff recommendations on other items in Hudson or other initiatives that the municipality could undertake we develop a list and that's maybe the list we go out with, or if that's a list we're comfortable with, maybe that's something we hold on to and keep for reference going forward as well.
So perhaps, Councilor Cassidy, could I suggest that we ask staff to bring that back to a subsequent meeting?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, Mayor Lawrence.
Clerk, is that fair with you? Yeah, I think you're the one who is doing, so that would leave this motion as it is, I think. I'm looking at the motion. Council directs staff to investigate funding opportunities to facilitate, doesn't say to engage in them, and just investigate what's out there. I think is that open-ended enough that we're giving you some direction, but not directing you to proceed in any way with this project at this time. Fair enough, Councilor Cassidy, does that work for you?
So you're recommending just striking facilitate this project in 2023, and you're basically striking the implementation of? Is that the amendment?
The council directs staff to investigate funding opportunities for this project.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
That would be a friendly amendment. Does this help me procedurally, clerk? The seconder has to do that now, or that's changed?
No, so the just the mover has to agree to the friendly amendment, and that is Councillor Fenelon.
It was, okay. Councillor Fenelon, are you good with that amendment? Sorry, you're on mute, Councillor Fenelon.
Okay, well, what are they asking for now?
So the motion would read, clerk, why don't you should do this? Yeah, thanks.
Certainly, through you, Mayor Lawrence. So the first part of the motion would remain the same, and the second part of the motion would read that council directs staff to investigate funding opportunities for this project. So essentially, we're just saying we're not committing to implementing the project in 2023. We're just looking at potential funding opportunities for if it's to be implemented at some point in the future.
And those will be brought back to council?
Oh, yes. Through you, Mayor Lawrence, they would, yes.
Okay.
All right, so mover's good on that. I can call that motion then, unless there's any further discussion. Councillor Cassidy?
Yeah, just on the second part, will that be a motion tonight for the other
No, I think
options for Hudson, or that come back at another meeting?
that was a subsequent meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Lawrence, my understanding is that was just a verbal direction to staff, as opposed to bringing back a report to seek that direction. I think council is giving that direction to staff this evening. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the report would come at a future meeting.
So the direction
report with the actual potential list of opportunities would now just come forth at a future meeting.
So the answer to your question, I think Councillor Cassidy, is yes, the direction has been given tonight and accepted by staff, and we don't need a motion to do it.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
Good. All in favor of the motion, the amended motion? Carried. Thank you. So I think that's the last of the items requiring separate discussion. So we would be into bylaws. Bylaw number 10-22 being a bylaw to reappoint Airden Bearless LLP as Integrity Commissioner for the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux for a 3-year term. Bylaw number 11-22 being a bylaw to adopt the estimates of all sums required for all municipal purposes during the year 2022, and to authorize the levy and collection of taxes for all municipal purposes in the municipality of Sioux for the 2022 fiscal year. Bylaw number 12-2022 being a bylaw to set tax ratios for prescribed property classes for municipal purposes for the year 2022. Bylaw number 13-2022 being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the clerk to execute a contract between the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux and Kuwait and Ascii Limited for the detailed design specifications, tendering and contract administration for the Hillcrest Drive upgrades and the Hillcrest Development Area Infrastructure Construction Project in the amount of $303,525 plus HST. And bylaw number 14-2022 being a bylaw to authorize and direct the mayor and the clerk to execute an agreement between the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux and Bercel Integrated Technologies Limited for the provision of information technology services. The bylaws number 10-22, 11-22, 12-22, 13-22, and 14-22 be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Fenelon, seconded by Councillor Cassidy. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Notice of motion, motions to reconsider, none. Outside resolutions, none. And councillor reports, starting with top left of my screen, Councillor Lego.
Thank you. Again, just a budget meeting, the CCTV special council meeting, and had a committee of adjustments meeting last night for a couple items, minor variances that went through. So that was my month.
Thank you. Councillor Fenelon. Councillor Fenelon.
I had a bunch of the same meetings as Corey, I guess. Can't remember them all, but and an LCC meeting and then committee of adjustment last night. Okay, everything worked out and everything's good.
Thank you. Councillor Bath.
Similar to everybody else, I think the regular council meeting, which I always forget to mention, and of course, a PACE meeting last night was a pretty good meeting. So I still have information I want to bring to council about PACE. The PACE now has a Facebook page, and they have a survey that goes with it. How many people are looking at it from different municipalities? Sioux Lookout is 1.5%. Dryden is about 98%. And the other communities are the same. So it's, I don't know, I'm trying to work with the, one of the things we did at PACE a few years ago, we tried to establish it more as a regional agency, but because it's located in Dryden, it becomes very Drydenized, and it's hard to break that mold. And somehow I've talked to our chamber a few times to try to do that, and it just doesn't seem to ever take. Again, maybe our folks just aren't interested in Sioux Lookout, but it seems kind of odd when there's several million dollars available at fairly low interest rates for expanding businesses that we're really missing out on it. And I don't have an answer anymore of how we're going to try to expand that more into Sioux. I think if we possibly, when we have an EDO again, that'll help, but it's always been a concern of mine, so it's something we need to be aware of.
Thank you. Councillor Timpson.
Yeah, I attended the Truth and Reconciliation Committee meeting, and I guess one of the highlights of that is that we've been able to determine what we will do with the files that we obtained from Lakehead University on the Pelican Falls School, which are at the moment housed at the library, and those files will go to Lac Sewell, which has been designated to be the coordinator of Bringing the Children Home project, which is to look at the deaths of children in the schools that were never. The bodies were never returned home, or it isn't known where they're buried, etc. So that will be helpful. That was also discussed at the library board as well. So we're very pleased about that. I attended the budget meeting, hospital board meeting, and one of the big things we're dealing with is physician shortage and emergency room doctor shortage, which they are working very hard at ameliorating. And I'm very glad to see this physicians recruitment body underway. I think that will help. Special council meeting, February 3rd, environment committee meeting. And one of the things that I've become involved in is setting up a Facebook page in which environmental information will be placed on there. It'll be attached to the municipal Facebook page. And Chris Pollard has been very good in helping us figure out how to do it. Last week, we had a webinar for the library board on just training on board structure. It was given by a consultant to the Ontario Library Services. It was very good. The library has started a soft opening, I should say, and from 10 until 2 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Seniors will be for seniors, and on, let me see here, Wednesday to Friday, sorry, on that same afternoon, 2 till after 2 o'clock will be for family. No, I'm sorry, I'm getting this all mixed up. Anyway, families will be Wednesday to Friday at the 10 to 2, and then everybody else after 2 o'clock. Will be open Saturday 12 to 4. And on the 26th of February, there will be an open house at the library to sort of celebrate getting back in business again. People who want curbside pickup can still have that if they wish. So that was pretty well my week, or month rather. Okay.
Thanks, Councillor Timpson. Councillor Cassidy.
I'm glad to hear that, Councillor Timpson. My wife and daughter are there right now, so I'm glad to see the library back into the swing of things. For me, the same special council meetings, budget, CCTV, and just fielding some phone calls from parents in the community regarding daycares. The Environment Committee, we went through our work plan as well. So that made some good changes there with some of our new members providing some good input. So yeah, good to see. That was my month.
Thanks, Councillor Cassidy. Councillor Howie.
Yeah, the same special council meetings as those other members of council, and additionally, again, fielding questions and comments similar to the nature that Councillor Cassidy did as well from constituents.
Thank you. It feels like when I went through my notes to see what I'd done, I thought, it seems like a long time since the last council meeting. I'm not sure, but KDMA happened, Councillor Timpson. I'm not sure, between the council meetings, is that right? Not right, KDMA?
No, it wasn't it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Before.
I think it was after the last council meeting.
Oh, maybe. Okay, I neglected that then.
Yeah, thanks for being our rep and being there. I attended to KDMA, and we had a chance to question the Solicitor General, the Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, and Minister Rickford. They didn't take too many questions. They took a few comments, but it was good. And then we had input with Councillor Timpson on the AGM resolutions that KDMA is putting forward. Board of Health has been busy with board meetings and executive committee meetings, I think 4. Then there was the Roma delegations that I attended with the CAO, Minister Thibodeau, the Solicitor General, and long-term care, advocating, what we're advocating for. And all 3, I just mentioned the names, and I think you know what we're doing there. Councillor Timpson reported on the Truth and Reconciliation Committee meeting, several media interviews from the Bulletin, a few, CBC Radio Canada on daycare, and the Cottager magazine on, in fact, it was on mental health and addictions and policing. So it was interesting. So we may have a feature in the Cottager magazine on Sioux. Special council meetings, we've had a couple. We've had municipal COVID coordination committee meetings, 2, and I think still being attended by I think 11 to 14 agencies. Still value in those meetings. Police Services Board meeting, met with the fixers group on policing costs with the CAO. I think a strategy, I think the CAO will be reporting on that at some point soon. They attended the Northwestern Health Unit municipal COVID update meetings that's available to all municipal councillors across the health unit. Ontario Health Team, there were 2 update meetings, and the most recent one, and thanks, we had the special council meeting and had another one this week, and that seems to be advancing. And I attended the AMO Health Task Force meeting this week as well, in which it's interesting how we're the only municipality with representation at the Ontario Health Team that's being formed in our area. for Red Lake, Dryden, Sulicote, and Pickle Lake, Ignace, Ear Falls Nation, I think. We're the only municipality with any representation on the health team. And yet AMO and the province both recommend municipalities be involved. At the meeting this week, I was questioned by somebody from an agency in Dryden as to why the municipality was engaged. And I scribbled a 10-point answer and provided it to the meeting. And unfortunately, that particular member from Dryden had left by the time I got to speak. But I received support from multiple agencies at the table, and they see the value of municipalities being involved. That came up today at KDSB in a board meeting, I guess it was an executive committee meeting, a governance committee meeting, and I think the other municipalities may get engaged. I'm not sure. Friendship Accord meeting, we had the mining school graduation that I attended on behalf of the municipality. And then we had a Friendship Accord, there was a Friendship Accord Incorporation meeting, which I attended part of today. And I would let the CAO report on that or not report, because I'm not sure. It still may be a little bit confidential, but I'll keep it confidential, but I hope there'll be something announced in short order in the next week or two. Positive news, I would say. KDSB special board meeting, AMO Health Task Force, Solgen webinar today on proposed firefighter certification regulation, which heads of council were required to attend. They're doing 2 sessions, so this was the webinar I attended, and I'm going to leave it to either the CIO or the fire chief or both to report on all that. They'll be better, more in tune with all the details of that at some point. And it has to do a lot with firefighter training. I did pick up that they're allowing 4 to 6 years for all the required training to happen. And the training that's required will be set by the level of service required in the municipality, and the level of service is set by the municipality. I'm sure there's a minimum standard, but we do get to set the level of service. Municipal councils set that, I'm sure with advice from our fire department. Like some of you, I've attended to various calls and emails from constituents on matters relating from sidewalk maintenance, snow plowing, accessibility, road maintenance, and daycare. And some of the concerns of the day, snow on the sidewalks for sure. I actually registered my own complaint in an informal way after I walked on the sidewalks. It's tough. I think staff are doing the best they can with the resources we have and the snow conditions that are here this year. So that's it. CIO, did you have your hand up?
Just to add to what you just said regarding the snow conditions, staff will be, I would be providing an update to council later in the week in my weekly update, and we will be proposing to do something in the near future.
The sooner the better. The nearer the future, the better. Thanks, CIO. That brings us to a motion to move into closed session. The council moves into closed session at 6:24 p.m. to discuss matters of a general nature as noted below, subject matter relating to labor relations or employee negotiations pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, section 239, 2D, 1 item, staffing matters. Subject matter relating to a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on or on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board per Municipal Act 2001 as amended, section 239 2K, 1 item, development projects negotiations, and subject matter relating to a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, section 239, section 2K, 1 item, police services. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Fenlon. All in favor? Carried. We'll now join the closed session. And are we all back? Councillor Bath? Yep, here he comes. That's it. We're all back. We have a bylaw that number 9-22 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of Sioux February 16th, 2022 regular council meeting be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Fenlon, seconded by Councillor Timpson. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. We stand adjourned.